Hello, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. Once again, talking about what is going down on the world stage. Okay, I hope you're paying attention, family. It's very important that we pay attention, keep our eyes and ears open. Russia says that the Syria chemical attack was staged by a foreign rival. Now, I'm going to be reading an article to you, and it will be very obvious who they are talking about as I read the article. But I wanted you to keep something in mind. They say that it sounds like it's a staged attack. Sounds a whole lot like the false flag epidemic. You see, a lot of people are always saying that this event or that event was a false flag here in America and in the Western countries. And so no wonder that Russia is believing that this too is a staged event, which is the same as a false flag. Okay, whereas in a false flag, you can have people that are really hurt, you see, but it was something that was planned. Okay, and the same thing with staged. In other words, it means that it was planned, that it wasn't just some random person who went crazy, but it was planned from the top, from very high up. Okay, very high up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read the article. It says, Russia says it has irrefutable evidence that the deadly Syria chemical weapons attack that has prompted the U.S. to consider airstrikes was fabricated. Kind of reminds me of that whole, we think there are weapons of mass destruction over in Iraq. Comes to find out, there was none, but that didn't stop them from attacking, right? They just needed a reason. They needed something to say to be able to go in there and get the approval of the people. So I guess that's what Russia is saying here. You see, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told a news conference Friday that there was a very alarming atmosphere over the issue and likened plans for a military response to failed action in Libya. God forbid any other military gambles will be taken in Syria, he said. Lavrov cited irrefutable data that this was yet another staged event, and staging was done by the special services of one of the countries at the forefront of the anti-Russia campaign. Now, whoever could they be talking about who's anti-Russian at the moment? Okay, his comments come after President Donald Trump called last Saturday's attack in Douma heinous and atrocious and said his administration was weighing how to respond. Activist and AIDS group says dozens died in the assault on Douma, the last rebel stronghold in eastern Ghouta, which has been subjected to intensive bombing by Syria's Russian-backed regime of President Bashar al-Assad. The U.S. has blood and urine samples from the area that have tested positive for chemical weapons, according to 2 U.S. officials familiar with the intelligence. The sample suggested the presence of both chlorine gas and an unnamed nerve agent, 2 officials said. Typically, such samples are obtained through hospitals and collected by U.S. or foreign intelligence agents on the ground. The officials said they were confident in the intelligence, though not 100% certain. Assad is known to have stocks of the nerve agent sarin and has previously used a mixture of chlorine and sarin in attacks, according to U.S. officials. According to U.S. officials. According to U.S. officials. Lavrov urged more diplomatic contacts over the issue and said Russia was open to further telephone contact between Trump and President Vladimir Putin. Diplomatic methods need to be used, which do not include ultimatums and threats, he said. Earlier this week, a Russian diplomat pledged that U.S. missiles would be shot down and American military assets targeted in the event of strikes targeting Syria. The White House said Thursday that Trump has not made any final decisions regarding a U.S. response after convening with national security advisors, but that a decision would be made soon. The U.S. ambassadors of Britain said Friday that Trump had spoken overnight with Prime Minister Theresa May about the need for a joint response. Okay. So you see, Russia is saying what? That they believe this was all staged by the same people who are pushing for all of this to be happening in the first place. The same people who are anti-Russian right now and have this anti-Russian campaign are the ones they believe. Now, they didn't directly say who it was, but they are circling around saying who they believe it was that have these staged attacks. And I guess that would be the same people that are responsible for the false flag attacks here in the U.S. and other Western countries. Because when you need something done, you have something that you want to take place, and you can't just move in there without some type of repercussion, because they know that they can't just go into Syria without Russia getting involved. And so they're trying to create all these ways and scenarios and if, ands, and buts and theories and all of this stuff to make way to get in there. And so as we see these things playing out, as the world stage is being set for all kinds of conflicts and chaos, we see that there are the same players over and over and over, with the same accusations, pointing the same fingers at different players each time, accusing this one of this and that one of that. Oh, they have weapons of mass destruction. Oh, they are killing their citizens in Libya, although their own records indicate that they were helping their citizens when they get married, when they have children, they helping them with education. They had a beautiful infrastructure until it was destroyed. And then they're saying that these people over here are poisoning their citizens. And so we want to help the citizens by going in and bombing everything. And we know that there will be casualties, collateral damage. But we're trying to save you. Even though we might have to do something to harm some of you, we're trying to save you, you see. Because these weapons of mass destruction, these chemical agents, all of this stuff that are being used against the citizens, in order to neutralize it, we have to actually harm some of the citizens. Because we're the police of the world. Do I even need to say who we're talking about? This is all just very interesting news, and we see these things unfolding right before our very eyes. Am I talking about Africa, by the way, family? Is Africa doing all this stuff, going into these other nations, accusing them of this, that, and the other? Are African presidents storming into countries, bombing this and destabilizing that and doing all these things? Makes you wonder, huh? Especially for those who believe that, I'm not going to go into that. I was going to talk about who's ruling the end of the world right now, you know, because there's some talk among some of our people that they believe that Edom is one group of people, when it goes totally against prophecy. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this out, family. Who's doing all this stuff? Who's doing all this staging and false flagging? Who is it? Is it Latin America? Is it Canada? Is it the Africans? Is it the Asians? Who is it? Maybe it's the pygmy people. Maybe they're the ones going in, destabilizing all of these nations. Who knows? Maybe it's some remote African tribe that no one else has discovered. Who knows? Maybe it's a tribe down in South America, down in the Amazon. Maybe those people have risen to power somehow, and they're going in and destabilizing nations. Anyway, I'm finished with this. I hope I will remember to put the link to the article in the description area so that you all can stay tuned on what is happening on the world stage. You can Google it yourself. You can keep an eye on the headlines. I would advise you to. It does you no good to sit back in the shadows and not pay attention to the world around you. I mean, some people literally don't know what's going on in their own city, their own state, much less the world. Not even in their own country, so much less the world. That's not a good place to be in, family. Let's keep our eyes open, keep our ears open. Let's stay in tune. Let's fortify where we are, strengthen what remains, and do what it is we must do to secure our families. On that note, I'm going to say shalom.